Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Gesha Village Lot 50 Honey Processed Ethiopia from Sweet Bloom Coffee Roasters. And there's the bag right there. And Sweet Bloom based out of Lakewood, Colorado, and this is their second Gesha release of 2021. The first being the Rigoberto Herrera, which as it stands right now is one of our top 3 favorite coffees of the entire year. So I believe I purchased every single Gesha that Sweet Bloom has ever released, so it shouldn't be surprising that I purchased this one. Won't be surprising when I purchase the next one. This right here is day 19 of this coffee. And recipe we have for Sweet Bloom is a 16.67 to 1 water to coffee ratio at 204 degrees Fahrenheit, brewed through the Chemex. It is a light medium American for the roast profile. And yeah, let's start discussing this coffee. So day 6, a pretty positive first impression. It honestly reminded me a bit of the Rigoberto Herrera, which as a refresher kind of tasted like a green bubble milk tea. And this coffee also tasted interestingly like a green bubble milk tea, but also a more generic bubble milk tea fruit flavor. So it was a very interesting tasting coffee on the first day, and a lot of higher end coffees this year have had that bubble milk tea sweetness, which I really enjoy. I like bubble milk tea, so having it in coffee has been a very enjoyable experience over this year. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it day 6. Day 9 went back and again could describe the sweetness as akin to, interestingly, bubble milk tea sweetness, and it was very enjoyable. Kind of tasted like a fruity bubble milk tea again. So yeah, definitely enjoyed the first 2 days of this coffee. Then here's where things got a little interesting. And I'm going to lump day 11 and day 13 together because both of them felt like an off day. And given that day 12 was such an impressive day, I can't help but chalk day 11 and day 13 up to barista error, as the coffee just kind of tasted like a tame fruit acidity on both of these days. I wasn't getting too much out of this cup of coffee. The reason I believe it's barista error is because day 12 was one of the most impressive cups of coffee I've ever had in my entire life. It was a delicate fruit bomb, which is really, really impressive. I love delicacy, I love fruit bombs, and having them both in a Sweet Bloom cup of coffee with a great bit of sweetness made day 12 such a standout day and such an impressive day for any coffee I've ever had. Went back day 15, and again the cup of coffee was really impressive, so that's why I'm still chalking up days 11 and day 13 to my own error, and I probably did something wrong to make this coffee not as good as it had been on other days. I feel like this makes this coffee super sensitive. You can mess this coffee up pretty easily. Day 15 was getting more florals in the cup, which a lot of other people have said they're getting in this cup of coffee. I'm getting some florals, some notable florals. It didn't come out until day 15 for me, but when it was there, it was a little bit more pronounced. Couldn't help but feel the cup of coffee is still super delicate. Sweetness is high, but the beauty that you're getting, what really sets this coffee apart, is the beauty in the subtle components of this cup of coffee, as well as the delicacy in this cup of coffee with a very delightful bit of deep colored tropical fruits that you're getting in it as well. All right, let's go ahead and put up the tasting wheel so you can see what you're getting. Right, and we have 5 things at a level 4 in this cup of coffee: the cleanliness, the sweetness, the florality, berry fruit, and citrus fruit. I'm going to start by discussing the fruit, as I don't think I necessarily felt any of them warranted a level 5, but they were probably equal parts berry fruit, which I'm going to say melon, and citrus fruit, which I'm going to say tropical fruits. Both equal parts in this cup of coffee, and they were both pretty pronounced in this delicate sense, so I will put them both at a level 4. Florality, yeah, probably level 4. It's probably about a 3.5, but I felt more comfortable pushing this one up to a level 4, whereas the opposite for the sweetness and the cleanliness, as both of those were probably a 4.5, but I felt both of those more comfortable putting them at a level 4. Not the most lasting finish in this cup of coffee, so level 3 is good. And the acidity, with the exception of those 2 kind of off days, felt like a level 2 to me. And on those off days, it was significantly higher. So again, I can't help but feel those are barista error, and I feel like I did something wrong on both of those days. But yeah, pretty happy with the way that this tasting wheel looks, especially on this day as well. All right, overall thoughts and impressions of this coffee, and I think I'm downplaying how good this cup of coffee was when it was at its best. When it was at its best, it's a top 3 cup of coffee as well. Probably a top 2 cup of coffee for me this entire year, so it was a really, really impressive cup of coffee when it was on. I don't want to take any points off or say anything negative about this cup of coffee for the days that I felt I did something wrong, because at its best, it is really, really impressive, and just because it happened to have a couple of off days, it shouldn't take away from how good this cup of coffee actually is. Type of person I would suggest this cup of coffee to is somebody that does like the really delicate fruity components as well as floral components that come from a cup of coffee. This describes my perfect cup of coffee in a nutshell. Delicate, fruity, floral, everything I absolutely adore in a cup of coffee, and that's why it's no surprise that it finishes super high as one of my favorite cups of coffee of the year. I'm curious to see how it'll develop by the end of the year, how my memory will kind of remind me how this coffee actually was, because comparing this one between it and the Rigoberto Herrera, the Rigoberto Herrera was just a little bit more consistent and a little less sensitive, and I absolutely adored that cup of coffee. So I think by the end of the year, I'll figure out which one I actually liked more, but both of them were really, really impressive, and it's hard to distinguish which one I actually liked more. So one more thing I wanted to give Sweet Bloom massive credit for is I feel like they have improved significantly with their Geshas. Having drank all of them that I can remember over the last couple of years, I think both of these are better than any of the Geshas that they have ever released beforehand. So I think they're trending in the right direction with their higher end coffees, and huge testament to Sweet Bloom for that. So kudos on everything that you've done with your coffees. I'm very excited to see how your next one turns out as well. But I think I'm going to leave this review at that for right now. If you have by chance tried this coffee as well, would love to know your thoughts and impressions of it. If you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Gesha Village Lot 50 Honey Processed Ethiopia from Sweet Bloom Coffee Roasters. Thank you for watching.